It's going to be exciting times. So, yeah. So I believe Carl will be live, Carl?
Yes, I made a bit of a mess up there. It's live now, so if you want to start over again, you're
I'm going to start
welcome.
all over again. Okay, Carl. So we
I'm
are live
sorry
now.
about that.
No worries. Kyle, thank you. He's our technical guy, but welcome. Good evening, everybody. It's Abdul here, the host of your first ever Motor Talk with Witzenberg show and Motorpraatjies met Witzenberg. This is our first episode live on social media, and we definitely going to bring you many more of these shows. Tonight we have two special guests: Byron Height, who is the chairman of Witzenberg Motor Club, young guy, full of energy, full of great ideas. You're going to be hearing from him tonight. He also races together with us, and we also have another special guest in the form of Leon Engelbrecht, somebody that's very close to me. Literally, actually, he's very close to me because he's my navigator when we race, so he's kind of right next to me. And he was the 2019 champion, GYMKHANA champion, and as well as the 2017 champion. And believe me, he can handle a car. So I want to welcome our guests and also thank you, the viewers, or I don't know what you call it on the social media platforms, but welcome to you guys as well. And send your comments through. We have some questions. If you want to have some questions, post some questions, and we're going to have some fun. So welcome to Byron and Leon.
Well, very good evening.
Okay, so we're going to start off with Byron. Byron, wat het jou hart begeer om die voorsitter te word van Witzenberg Motor Club? In other words, in English, what happened? Why did you decide to become the chairman of Witzenberg Motor Club?
I think it was a challenge that I was relishing. I didn't originally think of it, and then the idea was put into my head to maybe have a go at it, even though maybe I'm not the most experienced of the group, of the family. But I think I was given the support by Patrick van Mark, who took on the vice chairman's position, and we were taking over from a man who's a very tough act to follow. I'll tell you that much. Pierre van der Westhuizen, who had been, I think, for the last, I don't know, 50 years or something like it. He was chairman or something. The numbers are not quite accurate, but one of the two chairmen of the club that had been in the past. And I think what happens is I'm probably the youngest of the chairmen, so I've got big boots to fill. I'll tell you that much. But I think what happens is to be involved in the sport from an administrative, and I've loved for the last 24 years of my life. I've been involved for 2020. I hope I'm doing all right. It is my first year, but it always grow from here. And of course, I've always had the greatest help from everybody, yourself included there, Abdul, as well, from an organization. So I think it's just getting through all the obstacles and getting through all the hurdles, and then growing the sport like we're doing.
Well, thank you, Byron. I think you're doing an excellent job of growing the sport. And I want to introduce you to our next guest, my very good friend here, Leon. Well, basically, when I'm racing, my life is in his hands. So he's my navigator. And, it was actually amazing how we met. Well, I come from a circuit racing background where you don't need a navigator. You just go round and round and round as fast as you can. And but when I did my first GYMKHANA, it was in Ceres, I remember. And it was actually quite funny because after the second cone, I didn't know where I was. So we just decided we're going to go out of the route and go shopping. And then eventually I thought, you know what? Leon is actually, the reason why I chose him as a navigator was he doesn't weigh a lot. He's actually quite a short guy. He weighs very little. So I figured the lighter the navigator, the faster I'm going to go. And you know what? We kind of just hit it off. I didn't know Leon from about it, so believe me, but we kind of became family. And Leon is an awesome guy. So Leon, tell us a little bit about your journey through how you got into GYMKHANA.
Hello, Abdul. Thank you for the opportunity. And I just want to say hello to all the guests. I saw Atra there, and Nadia and Shamaine as well, that all said hi. Lucky to see you all live on the chat as well. Um, that a whole journey. I mean, my first car that I drove was a VW 1600 with side drafts on, believe it or not. And that got me hooked. And that was my first Gymkhana was Club Mykonos. It was the dream. We had no money. We're all bunking in the cars for Saturday's race. We all, yeah, it was crazy time. So with no slicks, standard cars, we just enjoyed it. And that's where Gymkhana started. And I'm talking about 2002, 2003. That's when we started with the Gymkhana. And obviously Patrick Vermaak was there and Olympia was there. And Werner Kukemoer, he was there, Saki was there. So there was such a lot of Fani was there. So there was such a lot of experienced drivers that actually went to rallying as well afterwards. That got us obviously up to beat, and we just wanted to join the sport. So yeah, it got in, it got stuck, it get part of my life. So yeah, Gymkhana it's my sport. And as you know, my wife drives with me, or I drive with her. Let me put it like that. So that is, I promise you, if you have any marriage struggling, or you want to test your marriage, come and drive Gymkhana with your wife or your girlfriend. It's a test. I promise you. If you can drive Gymkhana and you all smiles afterwards, you're ready, bro. You're doing the right thing.
No, absolutely. And you know what? That was the first thing that actually attracted my attention because, like I said, I came from a circuit racing background from a very young age. And the very first Gymkhana I did, I realized this was one big family. No politics. Everybody's there. In fact, on the very first Gymkhana, this is actually, I remember now how I actually got close to Leon. Your vrouw moet nie die hoor nie. But I remember the Mini. Rafik drove into the pavement. Well, kind of the Mini drove into the pavement. Rafik just steered it there, and it damaged the lower control arm or something of the Mini. And the two of us, remember, you stripped it, and the two of us went in that big werkswinkel langsaan there with the trucks, and we kind of fixed it up. And that's how I realized, but this is hands-on. This is so lekker, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So yeah, Byron, coming back to you. So I kind of organized the Gymkhanas at Witzenberg, but it's a team effort. At the end of the day, you cannot do it on your own. And if I look at next week's guest, we're going to ask Patrick Vermaak to come on the show next week, because Patrick has been, well, I'm not going to give his age away, but he's been around for a very long time. And the only reason why I'm sitting in this seat at the moment is because about a year or 2 years ago, Patrick got ill and Gymkhana sort of stopped. And I thought, well, I didn't build a car for nothing. And I said, hey, we're gonna make this thing work. And that's how I kind of got into the organizing position. It was like just there. So, and we grew this thing together as a team, and some awesome things are happening. So, Byron, what are your plans for future with the Gymkhana? Forget about the rally side. That's not really what we're talking about tonight. But just the Gymkhana side. What do you see for the future? What do you see? Where do you see the sport going?
You know, Abdul, I think what happens is if you go down to the basics itself, what attracted me to Gymkhana in the first place is it is entry level motorsport, or grassroots motorsport, as many call it as well. And when we talk about grassroots, you're talking about really cost effective. Look, there's no such thing as cheap motorsport. Look, let's face it, motorsport can be costly on various levels. But the idea of getting a stock standard road going car, which most of us are using on the circuit, and to take them racing, and you're not racing at main circuit speeds or rally special stage speeds, but a lot of the guys and the girls are pushing it out there. You can see the competition is fast and it's furious, if I can use a cliche like that. But the thing is, when I started in Gymkhana, I came with my road car, my 1999 Toyota Tez. It was in 2018. And I was driving all the way out to Dagbreek, which is in the middle of nowhere, on a concrete strip, which is very dusty, with my road car, which I fill up, go, come back, everything, and then go to work on Monday. Luckily now, I've got another road car. But that is the actual idea, is that you can bring your road car, you can compete in a safe environment, and drive it home at the end of the day. And the idea of now we've been talking about Abdul is getting a permanent venue, making it more accessible. I know we can talk a lot of hours around a lot of the motorsport bodies and licensing and things like it as well, which we have spoken at length about. So I think also seeing how to make the process simpler for everybody, so that what happens is we can grow the membership, grow the family, because what happens is it's always about growing members. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. If you have a shrinking club, you don't have a club. You know, you need more people. You need youngsters coming in. You need people looking at this and saying to themselves, hey, I want to try this. And the great thing is it's in a safe environment. So that's what actually really makes me excited at the end of the day. And I think we've had 2 test sessions, which I think have been magnificent. I think what happens is each one grows by a few more entrants every time we have it, once a month. And we've always had it about maybe 6 a year. Who knows? It could go more than that. We could keep it at 6 a year. But I think what happens is, Abdul, we got the formula very right here. And I think what happens is there's potential for absolute growth over here. And that, of course, in today's times with motorsport, growth is difficult. But I think we've got something where we can push it up. And remember, a lot of those folks from GYMKHANA, us from GYMKHANA, a lot will go on to rallying, a lot will go on to main circuit racing. So what happens is the sky's the limit.
So, Baron, you guys know that in the 31st of October at Killarney is our next test session. Currently, we're sitting on 23, if not 24 drivers. And guys, we have space for one more. So, I don't know what to say. So, you know, and kind of GYMKHANA is for everybody. You can come there with your standard road car and have a real jaw, or you can come there with like a really well-built GYMKHANA car like Leon. And maybe, Leon, you should just tell us, you've actually been driving GYMKHANA longer than what we were on the committee. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what is done for you. Like, you're a driver and a damn good driver at that, but you're also a damn good navigator for me. So just maybe explain to the people how this works together as a team.
You see, communication, it's key. And I've explained it how many times. You as driver are just as good as what your navigator is. Because like you said, the first time you drove, and people don't understand it, because it looks quite slow actually from the outside. But the force on the inside of the car, obviously it's much more, because you're coming towards a cone. There's 2 ways about it. Well, 3 ways. One left, one right, right over. So you must make your choice. And with a circuit that's laid out, so obviously cornering speed plays a role, tightness plays a role. So you can come around. The clock is one of the biggest measurements. And I promise you, you think you're running a very fast time, and then you see the clock and it's like, what happened now? When I was to Pick and Pay and back according to the clock. And then it looks like a car and it looks slow, but you see the time is like the quickest time for the day almost, you know. So it's a very disciplined sport, and that's what I love about it. So, I mean, you can come and you can play around. I mean, the course is there. That's why we have it, especially with the drifters and obviously with the rear-wheel drive cars. I mean, that's a pleasure to drive. It's not a long circuit, so speed is quite obviously brought down a bit. So, you know, it's controllable. So if you want to learn your car, how to drive it, it's the perfect place. And that's what's making the play field so open for us. And for everybody that's competing. It doesn't matter how fast your car is. If you can't put the power on the road, it's meaning nothing. If you can't steer it, it's meaning nothing. You understand? So it is a very, very competitive, disciplined, but enjoyable sport. And that's why the navigator, especially with a new driver, I mean, I've got quite some different navigators in my life. And obviously, and that's what it's about for me, to give them a part of the experience. Telling them how it is, it's not the real deal. You understand? So put them in the car next to you. They see it totally different. And then they get hooked. You understand? Then obviously, if you got a feel of that, of adrenaline, then it's next level sport. I mean, you enjoy it so much. And the nice thing is you compare to yourself. You must better yourself. So that's where obviously I can only drive that fast. So where do I start now? Obviously I better the car. So I start upgrading this and I start upgrading this. So yes, it's like Byron said. I mean, you can come, and that's how we started. It was my daily car that I drove every day. I had a joll of a time on GYMKHANA, and I knew exactly where my next paycheck is going, to be faster on the next GYMKHANA. And that's what made the sport so likable and so interesting. And so it was so much fun. And obviously, you know, being a part of the whole group and the family that we're talking about, we all help each other. I mean, if you see Kyle that's coming with his car, and Saki with his car, and everybody, I mean, if there's a problem on the car, I mean, you know, last year I struggled how many times with CVs that I broke. And then, man, when I come to the car, it's already jacked up, the wheels already taken off. I mean, that's teamwork. That's what you want in a sport like this. Yes, we're competitors, but we help each other more. I mean, I work on so many cars, and I've built cars much faster than my own car. And sometimes it doesn't feel right. You know, so, so that's always, you know, so it just makes the sport so much more competitive and so much more enjoyable at the end of the day, because that's what it's about. It's not who the winner is, it's the support that goes with it and the enjoyment that's going with it. So yeah, no, that's perfect.
I mean, I remember from you being I remember when you were navigator, and you know, when we activate the handbrake, my natural reaction is to rectify. And I can just hear Leon screaming in the background there. Well, not the background, sitting next to me. Don't rectify. Just let it go. Just let it go. And it's such a brilliant team effort. It's such a, and you know what? Personally, GYMKHANA, I actually challenge any racing driver to come to a GYMKHANA and see what he can do. That will separate the men from the boys. Believe me, my first GYMKHANA was a disaster. A complete disaster. I didn't get the route right. I just had fun, and I decided I'm going to learn this thing, and that's what happened. So, Atira, in fact, I see a comment here of Atira. She was actually also my navigator on a few GYMKHANAs, and it was quite interesting because she drives as well, used to drive. So we put in some pressure on her now to come back, to come and drive GYMKHANA again. And you know what? If you don't listen to your wife, she's not my wife, but she tells you where to go, and you go there. So, Byron, coming back to you, you drive a standard Toyota Tazz. I admire you for this. You drive the car to the track, and you drive the car home. Obviously, the Toyota, you can do it with a Toyota. You can't do it with many other cars. The other cars are going to break. But
there were very few other cars, yes. Toyota Toyotas just keep carrying on, my friend, and you and I know that very well. Is that a Toyota can be smoking forever. And it was actually smoking at one stage because my valve stem seals needed to be replaced and everything as well. And then I did a whole engine rebuild, or actually a new engine need and everything like that as well. But I don't run on slicks. I run on groove tires. A lot of the guys, I know you do, run on the slicks on the front mostly, Abdul. But that, I think therein lies the whole thing, which I love about it, is you get all kinds, and like Leon was saying, you know, you talk about rear-wheel drive, you talk about four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. If it's a straight four-engine, V6s, V8s, V10s, you name it, carb-fed, fuel injection, turbocharged, supercharged, everything, you know, naturally aspirated. That's what GYMKHANA is all about. You know, that my Toyota Tazz is not the most powerful car in the field, and But the thing is, I come there if I'm finishing, and I watch my time to see if I can get closer to some of the quicker guys and girls. And sometimes, you look at it and you think to yourself, okay, look, there's no way I'm going to beat them outright, but just that little bit of progress every single time. And I think last year was a phase as well where I was doing, a time. All 4 of my runs were in the same bracket every single time, and you're pushing harder and harder and harder every single time. But every single time you look at the times, you say, it's on the same again. So my accuracy was fine, but I wasn't breaking out of that. And what happens is it plays on you, when you do that. And I think that's the fun part of the sport. There's so many different driving styles as well. Some will use the handbrake, some will not. I don't use the handbrake very much. I'd like to actually maybe try developing that a little bit. But, I think what happens is I have a little bit of like a circuit racing kind of thought or thought process, while another person with a rallying thought process will use the handbrake quite nicely and everything. So, you know what? There's so much happening, and there's so many different characters as well, and that just shows you this is one melting pot of so many motorsport fans coming together on a Saturday or a Sunday, if it's on a Sunday, and just having a good time. And like Leon says as well, this is not where we are over competitive and not wanting to help. I think it's great when people want to help each other, and wherever they can, just to see somebody else, make it to the finish of an event. And that's what I think is an amazing spirit. In lots of motorsport series over the world, you don't get that. Everybody will, keeps to themselves, and they won't help anybody. But I think, everybody is to help, and I love that the best. I've been helped many times. I can tell you that much.
Here's just an insert of Leon in his car. Just check what it does, what it entails to actually drive. This is a full-blown GYMKHANA car. So just watch him for a couple of seconds, and we'll ask Leon to comment on this afterwards. So this looks like it was from the last test session. Yeah, the last test session that we had. Check him do this 360 with his Golf. It's a pity you guys can't hear the sound, but it's unbelievable. So guys, it's not really how fast it goes. I think this is in slow motion.
He's going so fast that it looks slow. That I can tell you.
Well. So Leon,
our brains can't process that speed so much. Just like Leon can. He's fine. He sees it at normal speed now.
Yeah, but Leon does everything instinctively. Leon, your wife came to drive an M5, that V10 Black Beast, I call it. You took me around the circuit the last time in that. That's not even a car. I don't know what you call that thing. That's like an untamed lion or something. En sê vir ons 'n bietjie in Afrikaans in jou moedertong. Hoe ry jy daarmee so lekker? Sê vir my asseblief.
Baie maklik. Petrol en weer petrol. jy los die briek vir later. Nee, ons daai kar is nogals iets besonders, ek moet sê. Ek geniet hom verskriklik baie. Nie die regte kar, maar dis juist wat die sport spesiaal maak. Dit is nie die regte kar vir die sport nie. Jy verstaan, dis 'n sport saloon kar. I mean, dit is 'n Sunday drive car. Maar as jy hom daar neersit, dit raak 'n beast soos wat jy gesê het. I mean, dis waar daai kar wil wees. Jy verstaan. So en dan geniet ek hom gehad uit, want die krag is net genoeg. Daar is net, ek wil amper sê, te veel daarvan. So ja, dis 'n groot kar, dis 'n swaar kar. So volgens resies termes is dit nie eintlik die perfekte kar daarvoor nie. Maar jy het saam met my gery. Dit bly net 'n plesier. En dit is wat dit so spesiaal maak. Dit is wat die sport so lekker maak. Dit gaan nie oor die tyd nie. Dit gaan oor die dryf, die enjoyment, as ek dit so kan stel. I mean, dis waarvoor ons dit tog doen. Is as jy nie jou kar kan geniet nie, en daar kan geniet nie, waar anders? I mean, ek het dit al 'n paar keer in my straat probeer. Die mense waardeer nie my bestuursvernuf nie. So weet jy wat gaan met hulle nie. So ek moet maar daar kom ry.
People are so stuck up there. I can tell you that. I
Yes.
don't understand it.
I promise you. No, Byron, the people that don't and sorry, this vehicle needs 2 lanes to turn. They don't understand it. I don't know what's the story. Now they're looking at me like I'm crazy, bro. They crazy.
It's like you know they need to feed their kids. You got to do your things too.
Exactly, man. No, that's what I'm saying. And that's with me driving. With my wife driving, that vehicle needs 4 lanes to turn. So you must understand.
Yeah, I think with GYMKHANA, that's the beautiful part of it. You can actually come with your own car, and you can actually learn how to drive your road car on the road by coming to a GYMKHANA, because trust me, the weight transference of a car in GYMKHANA is awesome. It goes from this side to that side. You got to turn the steering, you got to brake, you got to change down, you got to change up, you got to do everything in a split second. And believe me, you got to know your story. But if you do it in a controlled environment, it's so brilliant. And that's why I encourage young people that are driving fast on the road to bring the cars to the GYMKHANA, to the GYMKHANA. Come, we had quite a few young guys last time with their 86s, brand new guys. And they were having such a ball because it's a controlled environment. So Byron, coming back to you quickly. So this year, we have how many more test sessions kind of left over for the year, and then also next year, what are the plans for next year?
2 test sessions left for the year, if I'm correct. I know we have on the 31st, and then we should have one for either November or December, just to end the year off. I know a lot of racing events are going later this year because of COVID-19, but of course the whole idea is, I think the new thing is a permanent venue. We've been wonderfully accommodated by Killarney, I'll tell you that much, and it's always fun to be at Killarney. I've been involved in Killarney for a number of years. So the idea is to get a strip of tarmac, and let me tell you one thing. I think there's nothing more beautiful when you're looking on Google Earth and you see a nice strip of tarmac, but it's always, trying to get that strip of tarmac for what you want to do is always the thing. And I know you and myself, Abdul, been talking about maybe, doing the thing we do a lot in motorsport is raising funds for a venue to be tarred out. And that may take a little bit of time, but it's not impossible. So I would think it would be great to see us still maybe at Killarney within the next year or so, but also to bridge out and to actually realize that dream of getting our own club venue. We're not going to build a whole new circuit. I don't think that would be feasible, but at least a good strip of tarmac will do a wonderful bit over there where we could put so many different designs on. Abdul, I know I've looked at all your designs of courses. They're always exciting. The last one, I was very jealous of everybody when I wasn't on that, when I wasn't on the track and was having to commentate more. So yeah, I think what happens is there's a lot of potential. The new year is going to bring new things. COVID has, I know, I'm sick of COVID. I'm sick of coronavirus. I'm sick of all of that. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I just want to hear how we're going to come back, and that's what I think 2021 is going to be all about. Is building on what we have discovered now and getting to those points, like, for instance, raising funds to do a tarmac strip.
I'm not a doctor or anything, but I believe that COVID doesn't affect, the minute you inhale exhaust fumes from any car, especially running on 1 or 2 octane or methanol or anything, it kills all that germs. So guys, GYMKHANA is a place to be. You inhale some of those fumes, your COVID is weg. You can't even see me.
Especially up to that ethanol smells a lot like medicine. So, it can only be healthy for you.
No.
Leon.
Listen, Byron, I just want to compliment you on your medical experience. That's definitely Abdul, you as well. No. I think we must write a letter to the government as well. We've got the antidote. We know exactly how to work with COVID. Byron, I just want to set something right quickly, and I know we're on the air now, and you must understand, you're complimenting Abdul now, obviously, on his artwork. But did you see his profile pic? He's got like a 2-year or 3-year grandchild. I promise you, it's she that's drawing out maps that we
So
must drive.
the truth is coming out. So that Grandpa is claiming credits. Well, I think what say the saving grace for Abdul here, it's in the family. That's the main thing. So it is a genetic thing. But I think what happens is, yes, if I could talk about, not everybody, of course, who's listening over here saw Abdul's latest design, which shocked many of us on the WhatsApp group. Many turns, not many straights. I'll tell you that much. So I think we're hoping that it's some sort of a joke or something like that, and that we don't rock up on the 31st over there and have or spend like speedway bikes just going around the entire time.
Well, for you guys that know me, I do have a sense of humor. So sometimes I just want to get you guys like kind of smiling, and I'll just put something on the WhatsApp group. But believe me, the next route is going to be awesome. Trust me. You are going to have a little bit of everything. And that's the idea when I do the routes. You know, there's cars with handbrakes, there's cars without handbrakes, there's cars that rear wheel drive, there's cars that have got no power, there's cars that got a lot of power, these guys that want to drift. So if we can kind of accommodate everybody, that gets the blood going. So you're gonna see the next route. It's gonna be absolutely mind-boggling. You're gonna have a real ball over time. Leon, just coming to you have a business called L&M Motors. So your technical knowledge on cars is like really good. Tell us a little bit about that, Golfy. I mean, you developed. Well, actually, next week on the chat we're gonna have Rafik, who's your what can I say, your partner in crime, julle twee. And we're gonna have Saki on as well, and Sean Pretorius, and also Patrick Vermaak. He's the founder of one of the founders of GYMKHANA. But just for now, you bought that Golf and you developed that car into what it is today. Tell us a little bit about the technical stuff. There are some guys, and guys, feel free to post your comments, ask your questions. I mean, I'm sure Leon will answer some of your questions, Byron will answer some of your questions. If I can, I'll try and answer some of your questions. So just give us some technical background about this car. But die car is lekker vandag, jong.
Well, firstly, I must obviously start. All the technical stuff starts with my wife. So I explained to her, this car can't drive without this hair blower. So she accepted it. So that's why we started with the car. So all jokes
That's what the hair
aside,
look like this. So there we go.
Oh, some stuff you must give it household names. Otherwise, you'll never get it approved, especially if you sign all
So what is the size of this hair dryer?
Yeah. Yeah, and it needs 7 more blades, obviously, just to get the air flowing better. So,
Yeah.
you know what? The motor development was done, obviously, by Saki, because I bought the car from him. I mean, he drove that car for some time. So it was a big privilege, obviously, for me buying the car. And then, obviously, I started, Saki said, or he always says, you know what? I buy something and then I Leon prove it. He says, I buy a perfect car and then I strip the whole car and then I build it all over again. He says he doesn't understand it. So obviously we stripped it all over again. So I started with the roll cage and with the interior, and we did a little bit of brake upgrades there. Big on the suspension because handling is key. And about the GYMKHANAs. Obviously, cornering is the name of the game. So we did quite a lot of development there and trying to get the car stick, not pushing nose. And we actually had a bounce in the car for some time that we couldn't get up. I don't know who else saw the previous videos, and with Uncle Dewald driving it as well. I mean, the car started, especially on the corners, when you start hitting the handbrake, it got almost out of control. It started bouncing like a bouncing ball. And so, yes, we struggled quite a bit with that, and obviously doing some improvements. And you know what? There's no recipe. There's no book I can buy and say, listen, yeah, this is working, this is not. It's all obviously trial and error. And sometimes, yes, with experience, luckily I've developed some cars in the previous times as well. And main circuit cars, we do quite a lot of track cars. We do quite a lot of oval track racing cars. So, I mean, they've all got their own unique design, suspension-wise, corner weights, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, especially with the hill climb cars as well, I had the privilege to build that RS4 as well. So that was obviously for me, it's a learning curve. And then from there on, developing your own car, you must know how it works. You work the last day before the race, I work on my car. And then I must do a month's work in one day. And then you get there and you say, yes, and then you try your best. So, yeah, that's unfortunately how it works. Business comes first, pleasure later. But this is like part of my business. We do quite a lot of developing and all that. And me and Isak, obviously from Dynatech, we work quite close. I always uses his dyno to dyno tune the cars and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I've got a lot of people helping as well with technical information. But suspensions, I like it a lot because there is the key of the car is suspension. That brakes and suspension, you can build a very fast car. If it can't turn and it can't brake, you've got an arrow, and that's it. So GYMKHANA is not your sport. And so that's what's making it so nice. I mean, you can come with your standard car and actually, I mean, Byron said it now, consistency is key. And to try and do 2 or 3 runs in a second bracket of each other, I mean, that's consistency. Then listen here, you're pushing your limits. So obviously then you can start by developing, maybe braking later, turning quicker, see how you can obviously adjust yourself, your own drive style. Because, I mean, Saki drove that car for how many years? I think almost 9 years he raced that car. The first time he drove with me, he said, hey, Boet, wat's fout met jou? Jy's baie aggressief op die kar. I'm like, but that's my drive style, so I like pushing the limit. I like driving on the edge. He says, no, this car's never going to last, bro. You're going to break it the first time. And I broke it a few times. So to be honest with you, until I Leon proved it. So yeah, so it's getting better now. It's getting better. But, if I look at the Rafix Mini as well, I mean, that car, we spend how many time and hours on that car developing. And I promise you that car is perfect suited build for GYMKHANA. And I mean, I did all the development from the suspension, the engine, the software, the turbo. I mean, we did brakes, everything on that car. And unfortunately, I must catch him. So, so that's one of those things. I want his car back to detune it a bit just to make the playfield even. But yeah, I won't tell him that.
But you know what? I had the privilege of driving in your Golf. Now this last day session, and you asked me a very good question. You asked me how does the car feel, and I told you, Leon, compared to the previous time, this car feels much more smoother, much more easier to drive actually, and it goes where you point it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, because it's exactly what you said now. Because that car used to bounce, it used to make me scared actually, because you feel like you're going to fall over. So absolutely, the development is a lifelong process. I mean, it's really. Byron, coming back to you quickly. You have somehow, I don't know, a commentating background, because you were the commentator at for the last day session, the first live stream that we had. How did you ever get into that? Because I mean, you like kind of buy this voice, you go to ShopNet and you buy the voice, or how does it work?
Everybody tells me over the years I've got this lovely voice, but I don't hear it, because my ears are over here. I hear it all the time. People hear it from far. It sounds okay, I guess. So my background, actually, I started in 2009 in commentary with the Western Province commentators, which I returned to last year. There's a good group of guys. And like I say, I was off for a while from commentary, and then came back. And a number of years ago, that's how I actually found out about GYMKHANA, actually, was through commentary, because Patrick from Mark asked me to come and commentate a few times, well, a number of years ago, early 2010s, basically. And then one year I said to him, after we were still doing the Radio Tigerberg show, I said to him, I want to come in GYMKHANA next year, because now everything, the stars had aligned basically for it to be done. And that's how, I got into the GYMKHANA side. And then, of course, when I wasn't driving last year because my car wasn't ready, I got the opportunity to commentate again alongside Ashfaq Dawood, who's a man I commentated on in my very first commentary back in 2009. So everything comes full circle, and that's why I'm here. So I've done a few things in motorsport, but it all started officially with commentary.
Okay, because for this coming event now, or this coming test session, you are going to be driving.
Yes,
so
that's
we asked Ashfaq to come and commentate. So yeah, so it's going to be, well, you guys both are really, really good at what you people do. So coming back to Leon, you have, well, I stuck you into the seat next to me in my 1300 Toyota, and how does that car feel to you? I mean, that car was built in the yard. It was acted in the yard. So you come with a lot of technical, mechanical knowledge. I mean, that car was obviously a modified 1300, but how does that car's brakes and suspension feel to you?
You see, I always say, for a good mechanic, the Lord gave us something in our arse. So if my arse says it's good, then I know the car's okay. So I drive a lot of cars, and if you sit in the car and you feel this and but something is not right, then the people say, yeah, but how do you know? It's that I can feel it. So for driving in a different car, I mean, it's a different setup. It's a total different car. So I'm used to a lot of power, and well, most of the cars obviously want to make fast. From my Golf's time, obviously pushing more power. Your car's so balanced out, and that's what's making that car so special. So yes, at the stage when the suspension becomes perfect, and you actually go or know where you're going, and your drive style develops, because you can remember how many times that we drove. I told you, listen, yeah, start braking actually later, or turning in quicker, and especially with a handbrake as well. So with experience that comes in the sport, it's very lacquer, obviously, to navigate for somebody and that's willing to learn, and every time when the clock comes down, you're on the right track. You understand? Because you can see the driver's actually adjusting to his car. So I mean, we drove that car for 2 years now in the same position, but the times kept coming down. You understand? So yes, we did a handbrake development later, which obviously was a big bonus on that car. But with that bonus that comes out and the times comes quicker, the drivability change again. So the drive style changes again. So I mean, how many times you can see you correcting and you actually don't have to. You understand? Because the car's doing the work for you. So that's why you're using the handbrake. So it's a learning curve the whole time. And that's what's making it so exciting and so much more fun, obviously, to drive with somebody else. And that's why I enjoy it so much. Sometimes when I drive with Saki or drive with you, or even if I drive with my wife, I see it from a different perspective. She sometimes does something which I think, yes, but that's actually a good move because I've got my style. You understand? So I drive the way I drive. It's not always the best. And then when you drive with somebody else, you're seeing it from a total different aspect, it's from a total different view. So that's what I'm saying. Your car, for me, the development that went into there, and suspension wise, brake wise, I mean, it's perfect. I know you're upgrading the motor now. So obviously it's going to be a different ball game now when we're going to drive it. The 1300 is getting back. So we're going to see where we're going to come out. So obviously, and that's what's making the sport so much fun, the basics is still going to stay the same, but your drive style is going to change again because you're going to have so much more power. So now wheel spin starts playing a role. You know, you don't want to wheel spin the whole time. You want to manage the power. Coming out of the corner, you just don't want to spin all the way to the next one. You want to go forward. You understand? So there's so many things that could play a role. And with the LS diff that we obviously added, that was a big bonus because obviously drivability, cornering, coming out of the corner, that plays because you've got traction to both wheels now. So obviously you're putting actually power to the tar, and that's what you want to do. So you don't want to lift one wheel and start spinning. You actually want to put the power onto the road, and that's what's key because you're running against the clock and not against anything else. So that's obviously a drive style that adapts constantly from driver to driver, from navigator to navigator, and that's what's nice. If you have a navigator and a driver that grows together, then it becomes a competitive sport. And that's what's making family then at the end of the day, because you learn each other's styles. I mean, you know, I've got the privilege to pull your handbrake. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, there was quite sometimes it was surprising for us both because I'm pulling the handbrake and you're reacting a total different way. So I'm like, hey, this gets interesting now. So, yeah, so I mean, that's why I'm saying this is what's making it so much fun to drive and to have a navigator. Not because sometimes you learn the route and the route is quite easy learning. So, you know, after the second run, then it's cool. But then you got a route that on the fourth one, I still don't know where to turn. So then you need your navigator the whole time to tell you left and right or whatever the case might be. And that's what's making, because not one event is the same route. So you've got, I mean, if I take Gunther's car, I mean, Gunther's car is a basic 1800 fuel injection standard car that he makes 88 kilowatts. That's it. But look at the time he's driving, because he's obviously consistent. He's got his own drive style. He drives very professional. So obviously he's putting his whole heart into that car. And that car drives like it's running on rails. You understand? So he's doing so good. I mean, I'm driving a 250 kilowatt car, and he's doing almost the same times as I'm doing. So, I mean, where's the difference? You understand? So that's what I'm saying. Drive style, navigator, that's a key. That must be a team. You must know your language that you're talking, because, I mean, if I navigate, sometimes my left is a right. I mean, I wasn't in the army, so I don't know what is left and the right. So, but then the hand comes this way, and then the driver can't see where he must go because I'm in front of him, showing him this way. But that's all part of the fun. So yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I like it a lot.
Well, Leon, you know, from my perspective, I mean, I'm a baby in GYMKHANA as far as driving is concerned. There's a lot to learn, and you learn all the time. And a lot of that learning, thanks to you, because you are my navigator, because you come with a lot of experience. So, Byron, coming back to you, what really, really excites you about GYMKHANA?
You know, the whole combination of things. Now, you know, motorsport's always a combination of things for me. Yes, going quick, going fast excites me. The chance to feel, you know, the engine and feel the grip of the steering wheel and just everything, turning into corners, everything. But also as well, getting everybody together. And I am one of those people that love to see different cars and different driving styles and different characters all going for it. I've always got a personal love for the guys who build their own cars, guys and girls who build their own cars, who come to and you know are working on them and everything. I'm in awe of that, because I'm no engineering genius. I'll admit it. There's some real big brains out there, and to see guys and girls go out there and, you know, especially if the day is a nice sunny day with very little wind, and you know, just going out there and pushing their best to get good times. And the friendship and the helping, the laughter. I always, I think what happens is you see so much laughter around as well because everybody's joking with each other when they see each other. Nobody's walking around with a big head and saying, I'm better than everybody else. Maybe some of us think it, but, they don't make it apparent to everybody. And the thing is, it's such a wonderful cocktail of so many different elements coming together for a motorsport fan. And I know what we were talking about earlier on is that what happens is enjoyment such an important thing. Because I've got a motto in life. I say if I don't enjoy something, I'm not going to do it. That I don't see a point in doing something if I don't enjoy it. But when it comes to GYMKHANA, and this is why I've come to GYMKHANAs even when I'm not driving, even though I'm as jealous as nothing else to watch everybody else drive out there, I just want to be there. I just want to feel, the high octane cocktail that is what we do. And like we were saying now as well now with Leon already, look at how much talking about different styles, different setups, different everything. Anybody that's a motorsport nerd, a motorsport a nut, that is heaven for them, and it's heaven for me.
So guys, we have about just under 10 minutes left. So Leon, where do you see the sport going from here on? I mean, you've been around for a long time. I mean, you're one of the most humble people I know. Leon is so plat soos 'n 50 but he's got so much experience, so much humility. He's actually a pastor because he's the one that actually starts all our gymkhanas off with a good prayer. So we call him pastor sometimes. So we're blessed to have him around. I must be honest. We're blessed to have everybody around. But Leon, what is your vision for the sport, for the youngsters out there? Some advice to the youngsters. What can they come and do? What do you think? Wat sien jy in die toekoms vir hierdie sport? Wat kan dit doen vir die mense daar buitekant?
Abdul, weet jy wat? Ek gaan nou Afrikaans praat want ek het baie vriende en glo vir my, daar's 'n groot leemte in ons samelewing wat motorsport aanbetref omdat dit so duur is. Nie almal kan motorsport bekostig nie. En daar's soveel jonger mense wat so groot passie het. En ek sien dalk baie beter drywers is as ons en dalk baie ek wil amper sê gedissiplineerd kan wees as ons. Maar die geleentheid word nie vir hulle geskep nie want hulle ken dit nie heeltemal nie. Jy verstaan? So dat wat ons nou doen, die sosiale media, die groei van die sport. Ja, ek sê vir jou, as dit nie vir COVID en Byron het nou nog gesê hy's oor die COVID ding. Ek hoor wat hy sê want ons in besigheid, ons almal, ons het redelik seer gekry met die COVID, maar die voorreg is ons kan nou praat oor hoe gaan ons daaroor kom. Ons gaan nou praat, ons maak nou planne om te weet, luister, ons gaan dit maak en ons gaan die sport groei. En ek sê vir jou, as ek net sien met die paar mense met wie ons nou in raking gekom het en met wie ons kontak nou gemaak het en vertel het van die sport en mense wat dit op sosiale media nou sien, sê ek vir jou, kyk gou hoe ons inskrywings gegroei. En ek sê vir jou, as ons die veld kan oopmaak en sê, right, everybody wants come and drive. Ek sê, gaan ons baie verbaas wees. Ek dink die sport gaan uit sy nate bars. En net as gevolg van, ons hou dit op grondvlak. Ons maak dit nie professioneel nie, ons maak dit nie te ingewikkeld nie. Ons wil juist die man van die straat aanvaar met sy kar. En obviously op standaard. Ons wil nie hy moet nou kom breek daarso nie. Dan gaan ons hom wil help om sy kar reg te kry. Jy verstaan, so ons wil hy moet dit kom geniet. In die eerste plek, hy moet dit geniet, sy familie moet dit geniet. Hy moet sy kar kan geniet en sy kar leer ry, want dit is basies waaroor die sport gaan en die geleentheid wat ons vir hulle wil gee. So, kom ek sê vir jou wat, ek dink die sport gaan definitief van hoër vlak na hoër vlak gaan. Ek dink nie ons weet heeltemal die impak wat ons gaan op die einde van die dag gaan moet hanteer en die volume wat ons gaan hanteer, want ek is jammer. Abdul, motorsport is jou passie. Jy is deel van ons span. Byron is 100% aktief met ons sosiale en net so 'n kuil in die agtergrond om die netwerk aan mekaar te sit. En ek sê vir jou, as ons 'n span soos dit het, hoe kan ons verkeerd gaan? Hoe kan
Absoluut.
ons nie voete daar kry en mense betrokke kry nie? Weet jy wat is vir my nog altyd belangrik? Ek sê weer, vir iemand wat motorsport dalk nog nie, hy is dalk nie 'n motorsport foendie nie. Hy het nog nie die geleentheid gehad om in 'n resieskar te ry nie. Om dan op 'n manier 'n geleentheid te kan obviously skep en dan te sê, luister hierso, kom ons sit jou in 'n kar, kom ry saam met ons, kom ervaar wat ons ervaar. Luister hierso. I mean, as ek kyk na daai Reach for a Dream, daai kinders wat ons gehad het wat saam met ons gery het by Kilani verlede jaar, die geleenthede wat ons vir hulle geskep het. Weet jy het iewerste vir daai kind in sy lewe vir hom iets gegee wat geld nie kan koop nie. En op die einde van die dag, weet dit maak dit net soveel meer van. Ek wil net gou sê baie dankie aan jammer, ek wil nou net die inlas vir Doan Brink en obviously De Wet Breitenberg, goeie vriende van my. De Wet, ons wil daai Fortuner se software eers doen asseblief voordat jy hom bring. Ons wil nie daai Toyota breek op die eerste keer. Ons wil sy diff breek. Dis wat ons wil doen, maar ons wil nie die motor breek nie. So, nee, baie dankie vir al die vriende, vir almal wat inlaak. Ons waardeer julle opmerkings verskriklik baie. Dit is waar die sport groei op die einde van die dag. Dit is om gesellig te wees. So kom ek sê vir jou, waar sien ek die sport vir die toekoms? Definitief, ons gaan sukkel om almal te akkommodeer. Ek is 100% oortuig daarvan. En dis 'n lekker gevoel om almal te hê om eerder mense te sê, luister hierso, ons kan julle akkommodeer en ons kan 'n plan maak en om hulle deel te maak van die sport. Dis die lekkerste gevoel daarvan. So ja, nee, ek glo ons gaan definitief baie meer as wat ons verwag gaan ons uit ons naad uitbars.
Absolutely. Leo, thank you for your input. Byron, just 1 minute. We have 2 minutes left, but 1 minute of your time. Just tell us what's your vision? What do you foresee for the future for the sport?
Just growth, because what happens is, we live in a life and time. Yes, things have become expensive. Motorsport has got so many expensive classes and everything like that, and it's sad, that is the case. But we're doing our best to make it as accessible as possible. Accessibility is very important in life for many things, in many sports, but especially in motorsport. You need accessibility, and sometimes for many people, it stops at the fence where they look through and they see the cars, they see the drivers, they see all of that. And that's where it stops. You buy a ticket to a motorsport event. But now this is the idea and the opportunity that you can actually come yourself and actually compete, and not for too much of a cost. And that's what I think as well. I always say, other forms of motorsport should be seeing this as a great benefit to them, because out of GYMKHANA, you're going to get the future main circuit stars, the future rally stars, the future oval racing stars, everybody. So what happens is, we all different types of motorsport, all different types of things. Drifters will come from there. Everybody comes from there. And that's what I see for the future. So you know what? The future is bright, and I'm going to say it, that it is.
Guys, it was unbelievable talking to you guys. So much insight, so much passion, so much vision. And, I always say, leave the politics for the politicians and leave the passion for the motorsport enthusiasts, because politics and motorsport don't mix. When you're busy with GYMKHANA and motorsport, and money is your first priority, the sport's going to suffer. I know with GYMKHANA, all our hearts are in the right place. And when your heart's in the right place, then everything falls into place, because you're not doing it for the money, you're doing it for the passion. That excites me, because, nobody gets paid for what they're doing. We come there as a team and we have a joy. We have absolute fun. And you know what? GYMKHANA is in a unique situation, because we are allowed to have a navigator in the car. So that's a good way. I saw it was Duan Brink. You were saying, get some more navigators in the car. Yes, I agree with you. But the more red tape you have, the more politics you have, the less people come to the sport. So we want to keep politics out of the sport. The red tape, leave it for some other people. I don't like the color red anyway. So get the guys into the cars. Get your friends as a navigator. They sign the indemnity, they come and drive, and that's how the sport grows. So, I'm so excited about the sport. Kyle in the background there doing our technical stuff. I think our time is up, Kyle, if I'm not mistaken. Just give me a thumbs up or whatever you want to do there.
Doing 20 seconds.
20
But you
seconds.
guys can run a bit over if you want to. It's up to you.
Well, I think we kind of decided, we spoke about everything. What did you want to tell the guys out there, the viewers? Thank you very much for joining us. Don't miss the 31st of October. We're going to live stream it. Kyle has got some new equipment. Brilliant. So, it's all a learning curve for everybody. We're going to live stream it again from Killarney. We're going to start at, if I'm not mistaken, 9 o'clock, but you'll get the times. We appreciate your viewers. We appreciate the guys sending all the comments. Get it out there on Facebook. Share it with everybody. It's going to go onto YouTube as well. And this is going to become big. And we all want to be part of this growth, really. So for next week, same time at 7:15, we're going to be having our special guest, Saki van Zyl. I called him Sideways Saki, because the first time I met Saki, he's the first man I see drives a drift car with Crocs on. Like really Crocs. And a kort broek. Ik het my boeglam geskrik. Coming from a circuit background, helmet, gloves, full racing overall. Saki klim in die kar met Crocs. 'n kort broek. Ek is, okay, wie's die oukie? And we're going to have Sean Pretorius, drives a beautiful Subaru, well-prepared car. We're going to try and get Rafiq with a Mini for free on as well. And a couple of, Patrick Vermaak, if he's available. So we're going to grow this weekly, and we're going to get some of you guys to come and comment, some of the spectators, call it, or some of the viewers to come on the show as well. And we just want to grow this thing. And you know what? There's so much knowledge floating around, so much enthusiasm, so much passion floating around. This thing can only grow. And I want to thank Leon and Byron from the bottom of my heart for being here tonight, making the time. I know you guys have busy schedules. I think Leon just came from a customer before he was live. And I want to thank Carl and everybody else that has made this possible. Thanks to the viewers. And catch us live again next Wednesday at 19:15, 7:15, on Motors. I even forgot the name of the program now. Motorpraatjies met Witzenberg. Motor Talk with Witzenberg. So that's what it's about, guys. I'm gonna have some supper now. My maag is lekker leeg. And you guys, thank you so much, and we'll chat soon. Thanks, Kyle. That our time's up.
Cool. I'll end the broadcast. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Chat soon.
Dankie, lekker aan vir julle.
Julle almal ook. Baie dankie vir alles. See you guys soon.
Bye.